Hillary Clinton just gave her a victory speech, and she's winning by a little over 4 points now. So it was a victory she earned and got, and so
results are barely coming in now. We've gotten like 1 percentage point during her whole speech.
Was saved by the black vote.
Yes, it turns out saved by the black vote, and so Latinos went more to Bernie Sanders, which
according
is a little surprising.
to this one exit poll, which doesn't agree with all other exit polls. That was Steve Kornacki.
Steve Kornacki reporting in about that, and then he barely won whites, which is a little surprising, but that's partly for the reasons we talked about earlier, including 2/3 of the voters being over the age of 45. So the more older voters show up, the more she's going to do better, even in a demographic like whites, where Bernie Sanders usually does a tiny bit better, or sometimes a lot better. But she won 77% of the African American vote.
That's what I saw, yeah.
And so with those being 12% of the voters, that's your 4-point win right there. So it turns out Latinos are not at all a firewall for her. As Wes pointed out a little earlier, Latinos is a group that is not monolithic in their voting. Sometimes they are when they're galvanized by obvious hardcore anti-Latino messaging, as happened with the Republicans in 2012, but oftentimes that dissipates when it's not as clear in terms of messaging. And is there a real clear, more pro-Latino candidate between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton? You know, look, you can make the argument that it's Bernie Sanders because he's more progressive, but that's just an argument. You could probably make, Hillary Clinton would have a decent argument back on that. On African Americans, that seems like it is a firewall.
Yeah.
And so if they vote in South Carolina in the numbers that they voted in Nevada, she's going to have a crushing victory.
They will.
Yeah, because they're not 12% of the Democratic voters in South Carolina. They're a much higher percentage of Democratic voters in South Carolina.
That's true, yeah.
So that if that holds, well, then she'll have a comfortable lead. Look, there's talk of Bernie Sanders making more headway in the African-American community. There's a great number of people now both supporting him and honestly attacking Hillary Clinton, pointing out her old quotes about super predators and saying her record is not that great with African-Americans. And the younger the African-Americans are, the more likely they are to hear that message. And our reporter, Jordan Chariton, has some, honestly, even some inflammatory talk from some young African-Americans against Hillary Clinton in South Carolina. But is there enough time to turn that vote around? And the answer is probably not before South Carolina. Right. And so whether that winds up having an effect in a state like Michigan down the road, well, that's more of an open question.